Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. So, yesterday we spoken about what is a cloud and what is Azure and why many companies are choosing nowadays cloud technologies because cloud is cheaper and no risk is attached to the cloud. So, scalability is very easy. You can increase, you can decrease, high availability, cheaper, inexpensive, lot of other advantages. Because of that, many companies are migrating their data from on-premises to cloud environments, right? If you wanted to learn ADF means you need to know SQL knowledge, and ADF is one of the application or app within Azure. Azure has 200 plus apps as we discussed yesterday. So one of the app is called Data Factory. Okay. Now today, let us understand what is the private cloud and what is the public cloud and what is hybrid cloud. Okay. So let me give you a couple of examples. So what is a uh, private cloud and everything? So if you see, uh, what is ADF? ADF is completely ETL. ADF is released in 2015. It's an Azure service. ETL, extract, transform, load. So this, you can, you will be able to perform these operations. When you have a big amount of data, big data requires a service that can offer ETL services. ADF extracts data from the Azure Data Lake blob storage. What is a data lake? What is blob? Also, will understand. Big data will have unstructured data, large amount of data. So if you wanted to compare with SSIS and ADF, ADF is more easy when you compare with SSIS. So what are the issues with the SSIS? Cannot load semi-structured, unstructured data, not suitable for the cloud technologies, not suitable for big data, limited data sources are available, and it is on-premises solution, right? So because SSIS is launched in the year 2005, so that time we do not have much more data sources, so we don't have any cloud. Cloud is started from 2006 and 2010 Azure is started, right? So if you wanted to deal with the cloud, or if you wanted to deal with the structured data or semi-structured data or unstructured data means, so structured it can handle, semi-structured, unstructured it cannot handle. I'm talking about SSIS, and it will be able to load. You can take the data from different sources. All the data you will be able to load them into your data warehousing. Clear? So, because data warehouse is also SQL, so you will take the structured data, load into structured environment. So here we can easily use SSIS, right? But if I have unstructured data, I have a lot of chat messages, I have a lot of social media data. This kind of a data you cannot load using SSIS. That is where you need to use one more tool called ADF, and ADF may load the data into data warehouse if it is a structured data, but if it's unstructured data, it has to load the data into either a blob storage, or you will be able to store the data to the data lake. Clear? So we need to understand what is a data lake and what is a blob storage. So structured data, you will be able to store them in Excel, or structured data most of the time we are going to be loading into data warehousing. But unstructured data, when you have a semi-structured data, so we don't have anything in the IT industry. Let us understand what is a data lake, right? So that is also one more important point. Okay. So data warehousing versus data lake versus a binary large object blob storage. Okay. All of them you have to know clearly. So let me tell you what is the issue with the data warehousing, let us understand. In 1990s, so 1990s, when the IT industry realizes that we are collecting a large amount of business data, all the business data to store, we need to have a large databases. So you can perform some ETL operations. So you should be able to store large amount of data in one computer. That the computer is named as a data warehouse. In 1990, I'm talking about. So it is nothing but large hardware, large hardware. Software wise, only SQL Server is taken, right? So people are able to get large amount of structured data and people are able to store. That time the average data warehouse size is 14 terabytes because lot of hardware issues. 1990s means hardware is too costly and you don't have much more disks, you don't have much more RAM, you don't have higher capability CPUs, and hardware is the biggest issue that time. Somehow we got 1990 SQL software is SQL is released in 1970s, but data warehousing concept is not there. In 1990s, people have invented this. But the problem year 2000 suddenly the social media market, social media network is evolved, and after that you slowly getting a lot of unstructured data. You're getting a lot of charts, right? And you have a lot of unstructured data like images, photos, semi-structured data, a lot of file data, but it is semi-structured data, unstructured data. So it is started because internet is evolved in year 2000. Many people have the internet. Slowly in 1990s we have the internet, but slowly year 2000 internet is evolved, and a lot of social media like Orkut and lot of other services slowly launched into the industry. Slowly, the structured data, unstructured data is also evolved. So people do not know how to store this data. Clear? They need to get this data with the help of ETL and they wanted to store the data. So that is the biggest question. Where to store? So data warehousing means I can have the structured data because it is SQL, right? So large database is called as a data warehouse. You have a structured data, a lot of historical data, you can have it here. So that is fine. But in the year 90s, many companies are getting large amount of chart messages data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. But now we don't have anything to store. So that is when in year 2000 companies have launched one more concept. So this is what is called a data lake. Clear? So data warehouse is going to be storing Data warehouse is going to be storing structured data because it is SQL. SQL means you will create a tables, you will have primary key, foreign key relationships. So all these things you can have it. Now tell me, if I give you a lot of images, a lot of X-rays, a lot of big files I'm going to be giving you. For example, movie I'm going to be giving you, bigger files I'm going to be giving you. Where will you store? So this is unstructured data. So chart messages, where will you keep? All the data cannot go into SQL. Or I have a lot of documents, docs, I may be getting it. So where will you keep all the data? To store all the data, IT companies have to invent one more. So this is what is called a data lake. And so one more is called blob. Clear? So there are two things it got created. Let us understand what is a data lake or a blob. So both of them are nothing but your Google Drive or OneDrive. If you know Google Drive, you can easily understand, right? What is a Google Drive? Google Drive is, the space. It is online space. You can keep the data. Anybody can access when you give the permission. So OneDrive or Google Drive is nothing but your data lake or the blob storages. So in similar, it is Google data lake is nothing but a folder only. If you go to Windows operating system, if you go to Windows operating system, you will be able to create a folder, right? In the folder, you can store audio files, video files, images, anything you will be able to store. So data lake and blob is nothing but a folders only in Windows operating system. You will be able to understand like this. So, but they have given, the IT index is given a different name altogether. So data lake means you need to understand which is a Google Drive. Blob is also some kind of a Google Drive and which is cheaper. Just like a folder where you will be able to store your files, audio messages, video messages, everything which you can store, but it is very, very cheap. But when you go to the blob, blob means binary large object. I'm going to be storing, let us say, 200 GB of a single file, a backup file, or I wanted to store a 500 GBs of a large file. So if I wanted to store large kind of a file, different storing techniques are going to be used. So it is also one more folder only, but which is very, very costly. Clear? If you wanted to store bigger files, the bigger files cannot go here. So when you have a bigger files, backup files, 100 GB, 200 GB, 500 GB, 2 petabyte, 2 terabytes of files, when you have it, that is called as that kind of a data is called as a binary large object data. To store this kind of a data, you need to have a special storage requirements are given. So that is what is called a blob. What is the special things that we'll discuss later, but you need to understand today we are able to store structured data in the data warehousing. Today the companies are going to be storing large amount of unstructured data, semi-structured data in the folder structures. So these are available in all your Azure or in the AWS. So data lake is nothing but a folder, or a blob is nothing but a folder in your Windows, if you wanted to understand. Clear? Instead of saying a folder, IT index is given two special names. One is called a data lake, one is called a blob. So whenever you go to Azure or whenever you go to your AWS or Google Cloud, so if you wanted to store structured data, you can go to any database, you can store the data, or if you wanted to store unstructured data, or if you want to store data in the file format, right? Either you can create a data lake or you can create a blob storage. So data lake will be your input, or data lake will be your output also. Like that, blob will be your input folder, blob will be your output folder also. So did you understand what is a data warehousing, what is a data lake and a blob? So data warehouse cannot store unstructured data, semi-structured data. So that is where you need to have one more, concept or one more storage requirement is there. Because of that, people have to invent one more thing. That is what is called data lake. Data lake is nothing but a folder in your Windows, but people will not be calling as a folder. A special name is given. It is a data lake. It can store files. It can store, small files, bigger files, anything. Data lake, it is going to be cheaper when you compare with the blob. Blob, you can have, it can take large files. Clear? So when you take any cloud, okay, when you take any cloud, so cloud may get the data from one more data lake. Okay, cloud may get the data from a blob storage, or cloud may get the data. So you may have some on-premises data. You have some data in my computer. So I will be able to upload the data into the data lake. So that means Google Drive or OneDrive, like that. So from here, I will be able to take the data from ADF, and it may be, pulling the data to one more Azure SQL. Okay, or it may be pushing the data to the one more data lake, or it may be pushing the data to the blob storage. Clear? So these are the data storages, or it can also get the data from the on-premises SQL. On-premises SQL. For example, I have an Excel file. employee.txt file is there, or employee.excel file is there, which is there in the C drive. But how do you dump the data? First, this data you need to put it in the data lake, or you can also place the data either here or here. So from here, you will be able to get the data from ADF to all the data, if it is a structured data in this file, and all the data, it can come to employee table, or as it is, you will be able to get the file here. From this file, you will be able to load the file as it is to the data lake. Clear? So if you take the data as it is from here, if you wanted to load the data as it is without applying any kind of a transformation, means that kind of a process is called ELT, ELT process. What is the meaning? Extract the data, load the data first. You're going to be getting your employee.txt file, take the employee.txt file, directly extract the data, load the data, you store the data. You are not applying no transformations on this data. Clear? You don't apply any transformations. ADF is nothing but 80% of the time it is going to be your ELT. ELT means extract the data, load the data. Why we are going to be extract and loading? Why not transformation? You assume you are getting a very big file data, 100 GB of data or 100 terabyte of data you're going to be loading. What is the size of the file I'm talking about? It is a binary large object file. So you have a bigger file data. You kept it in the blob storage. What is the capacity? 100 terabytes of data it is. Now, when I run this to ADF, ADF is a small application which is running your Azure. Clear? So you wanted to clean this data. This ADF may be working in a single computer. So it is a data center where you have a single machine is there, where ADF is running on a single machine. If you have this much of a data, at the time of extracting, it can extract, but transformation means I need to do a lot of circus on the data. Transformations cannot be done on the single, hardware. It will be very, very difficult. So when you have a large amount of data, cleaning process cannot be handled by single machine. So ADF cannot do the transformation on the entire data, because I'm talking about not a 1 GB of file, not 2 GB of file. I'm talking 100 terabyte of data or a 50 petabyte of data of file I'm talking about. When you have a large amount of data, extracting the data, loading the data is the super thing or super best thing you can do it. When you have a large data, transformations you cannot do. So what you do, you load the data here. After that, what you do, you take the data and you will be able to use or split the data to the multiple machines, where you will be able to transform the data, because one guy cannot clean the data. For example, I wanted to uh, transfer from Hyderabad to Bangalore. I got transfer. I take all the saman, all the luggage from Hyderabad to, let us say, Bangalore. All the lorry, taken the saman and they are shifting. So what I do? First, I empty the car. I load all the items into my house, extracting the data from the lorry and loading all the items into my house. So after loading the data, then whenever I get them tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I take a rest, and after that I open one by one, I put them, because I will not be able to perform extracting the data, open the cartons, and putting the saman into kitchen and everything will be difficult. So when you have a large amount of items, so what you do, you extract the data, load the data first. After that, you can get the labor and open the each and every carton. You're going to be cleaning and putting this the items here and there. That is what is called transformations. So lot of the time, ADF is going to be a ELT engine. It is not a ETL engine. When you have a small amount of data, you can also apply some transformations and load the data. But 80% of the time, it is going to be performing ELT operations, right? Only 20% of the time, we are going to be performing ETL operations. So when you have a small amount of extract the data, you can also clean the data. For example, you go to supermarket, buy some two bags of luggage. What you do? Immediately you transform the luggage and you're going to be arranging at the home. So in the home, right? So when you have a large amount of data, you cannot do transformations. So Azure Data Factory, assuming that I'm going to be most of the time simply lifting the data, shifting the data, lifting and moving the data. I don't do the transformations. Clear? So that is what is called ELT. ELT is going to be done on the big data. Clear? So ELT is going to be done on the big data. ETL is going to be done on the small amount of data. When you have a lesser than terabytes of data, lesser than terabytes or MBs of data or gigabyte of data, when you have it, ETL transformations are going to be applied. Clear? So when you go to Azure, you have to know what is a data warehouse. You can run anything in the on-premises. Data warehouse can be there in the on-premises. On-premises means you can have your own hardware. You can install the SQL. You can create a data warehouse and you try to use it. Or you can also get the data warehouse on the cloud. Cloud means you can go to AWS. You can go to Azure. You can get your data warehousing like that. You have a SQL. SQL can be on-premises or SQL also can be cloud. So cloud means Azure SQL, or you can say Azure Oracle. Oracle is also, you can use it, SQL, MySQL, anything you can use it. All of them are called cloud SQL. Like that, you have a Java. So Java is can be installed on the on-premises, your own hardware and everything, or Java can be installed on the cloud. So people will say Azure Java, Azure SQL, right? To store the data. Now in the Azure or the AWS, you have a data lake and a blob storages to store the data. Blob and data lake, both of them are nothing but your folders or nothing but a OneDrives or the Google Drives where you can store large amount of Excel files, PDF files, or images, audio files, video files, anything you can show, right? So data warehousing is created early 1990s, and data lake and blob is released after 2000 only. So that is a difference between data lake and data warehousing. Data warehouse cannot store the files as it is. Data warehouse cannot store the files as it is. Data lake and the blob can store the files, images. So this two things you need to understand clearly. Now, what is a private what is a private cloud? So all the servers are going to be maintained in the data centers. Clear? You have a data center. All the cloud servers are going to be maintained in the data server. So bigger company like Walmart, or bigger companies like Microsoft, or bigger companies like Amazon company, so they wanted to maintain a lot of data centers, and all the data centers will have their own servers, and they are going to be using for their purpose. Or if you wanted to store your very confidential data, government of America data you wanted to store, or government of India data I want to store separately, I don't want to give this data to public. So what will happen? Government of India is going to be maintaining a private data centers. Only government of India data is going to be stored. If you wanted to keep confidential data, I'm going to be having a lot of private data centers. Only I'm going to be using my official, and my company is going to be using the data. So this is what is called a private. The next one is called public. Public means what? So you create a data center. You create a data center. So data center means a lot of servers are going to be there. You have hundreds of servers. You're going to be using it, and you're also giving others to access your servers. You will be charging them like that. Google Cloud, you have Amazon Cloud, you have AWS Cloud. You can keep your data. That is one thing. You will also get the uh, data from other companies. You will be able to give your data center for the rental purpose. Other people also can access. They will be able to keep their data in your data center. This is what is called public, right? And what is a hybrid? What is a hybrid means? You have a data centers, so you will be able to have, so some companies are going to be putting some of the data into their private data center. Some of the data, they will be able to keep them in the public. For example, I have not very important data, so that I can go in for the public. Public cloud means you can go to Azure, you can go to Google Cloud, you can go to AWS. That is a public clouds. So you can keep the data, some of the data in this cloud, some of the data you will be able to keep them in the private cloud, because the data nobody should access it. This is what is called a hybrid. So depends upon your requirement, you will be able to go for the private cloud, or you will be able to go in for the public cloud, and you will be able to choose your data in the both hybrid model also. You will be able to have it. Am I clear? So this is what is called hybrid or this cloud. Now, so we spoken about data analytics, right? What is data analytics? Data analytics means understanding the past. So understanding the past is called data analytics. What is a data science? Data science is also called as artificial intelligence, or it is also called as a machine learning, or people are also using a deep learning today. Now, this is what is called, you're going to be predicting the future. Clear? So that is what you're going to be understanding. So if you wanted to deal with the data analytics or the data science, you have to have the data. Without data, nothing is going to be working. So when you have a small amount of data, so small amount of data, we are going to be keeping the data in Excel. That is what we have discussed. When you have, like say, a small amount of data, we can use. When you have a medium size of data, all the data is going to be going for SQL. That is only structured data I'm going to be talking about. Okay, SQL means any RDBMS. But when you have a structured data, and I have a, let us say, large amount of data, here I'm going to be talking about terabytes of data. Here I'm going to be talking about gigabytes of data. So all the data people are going to be storing into data warehousing. Now today, the data is not in the petabyte. It is not in the terabytes. It is a double XL data or a triple XL data I'm going to be talking about. Petabyte of data, zettabyte of data, yottabyte of data. So that is one thing. Structured data, I'm getting semi-structured data, and I'm able to unstructured data. All the data can go into your solution is called as a big data softwares. Clear? You're going to be going to the big data. So which software that I'm going to be installing it here? I'm going to be installing Hadoop. So there is a software called Hadoop software is going to be installed, so that you can keep the structured data, you can keep semi-structured data, you can keep unstructured data. Now, Hadoop is released, I think, year 2006 to store large amount of structured, semi-structured, unstructured data. Data warehousing released 1990s, SQL is released 1970s, and all these things are talking about only the structured data. When you have the data in the structured format, when you analyze the data, this kind of a data is called as a business intelligence or data analytics. Clear? When you get the structured data and when you analyze, so how do you analyze? You're going to be creating a Power BI reports, Power BI, or any reporting tool that you're going to be using, SSRS, or you may be using a Tableau, or even simple Excel also you can use. When you take the structured data and when you analyze, this kind of a process is called as a data analytics, or it is also called as a business intelligence. Clear? So business intelligence means analyzing the structured data, right? But you have a large about structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. In this also, you will be able to analyze the data. Clear? You will be able to create lot of Power BI reports. Here, this kind of a data, when you analyze it, it is only called as a data analytics. It is not a BI. BI means, it is a completely structured data. When you analyze it, people are calling that as a business intelligence. Clear? So business intelligence always tells you it is that structured data we are going to be analyzing it. Clear? But if you take unstructured data, when you take semi-structured data, structured data, when you analyze with the help of a Power BI or any other reporting tool, this process is called as a simply data analytics. We don't call this as a business intelligence. So business intelligence means structured data when you analyze it. So that is what is called as a data analytics or business intelligence. But when you have a semi-structured data, unstructured data, when you go and create a lot of reports on this, it is simply known as a data analytics. Now on this data, one kind of a, so in this also you will be able to perform BA and everything here. Since it is a structured data, it is simply business data. But now we were able to only understand how was the past. The companies wanted to understand what was my sales last year, what was my brand in last 5 years. But they wanted to predict what will be my sales in India next 5 years, what will be obesity rate in next 5 years, how many people are going to be dying in next 10 years. I would like to predict the data. So all the data, maybe from Excel, maybe from SQL, maybe from data warehousing, maybe from big data, maybe structured data, maybe unstructured data, semi-structured data, I have to give it and I have to perform one more type of analytics, that is what is called AIRML. Clear? So you will be able to perform a data analytics using Power BI. The data may be coming from here, or data may be taken to AI applications or the BI application. It may take data from Excel, it may take data from SQL, it may take data from data warehousing, it may take data from big data Hadoop. Still you will be able to perform AI and ML. So get the data, store the data, and keep the data in these environments. You may keep the data in the data warehousing, you may keep the data in the big data. You have to use a lot of ETL tools. You have to know a lot of SQL understanding. You have to know what is a data warehousing, right? You have to know what is a big data, right? What is a Hadoop, you have to know. And today Hadoop is gone because Hadoop is developed using a Java language, right? To store large amount of data, data warehousing can store only terabytes of data. When you have large amount of data, even that is a structured data, people were using Hadoop, but today you have a Spark and a Scala. Clear? To Spark and Scala got released in 2014. So if you wanted to work with a large amount of data today, so you need to know Spark and Scala also, or big data concept, or Hadoop you have to know. So if you know all these things means you will become a data engineer. So data engineer is going to be working with the all the sources. SQL you have to know, data warehousing you need to know, big data concepts you have to know, Hadoop you have to know, Spark and Scala you need to know. Big data will be using a scripting called Python for the processing and everything. You have to know Python also. Big data today implemented using a Databricks concept as well. Clear? So Databricks also you have to know. So all the data you will be able to get it from on premises, or all the data you will be able to get from the cloud. You can have cloud big data, on premises big data. You have a cloud Hadoop, you have a on premises Hadoop. You have a cloud, Spark, like that. On premises Spark. You have a cloud data warehousing, you have a on premises. So tomorrow you can become a data engineer, maybe working with the cloud, maybe working with the on premises, because on premises is costly. Many companies are using cloud. So if you wanted to become a data engineer, you have to know cloud, and you need to know big data concepts. You need to know Databricks, Spark, Scala, and you need to know data warehousing, you need to know SQL, blah, blah, blah. So this is the roadmap you need to understand. Clear? So data engineer is the guy today. He's going to be working with any kind of a data, not only data warehousing data, not only structured data I'm talking about. Am I clear? You may be working with any kind of a structure. Clear? So that is you need to have. So data, you will be able to collect the data and you will be able to store the data. Storing maybe in simple Excel or not Excel. We're going to be doing data lake. You may be using it, or maybe Excel on premises, or you may store the data in SQL or a data warehousing or in the big data concepts. All of the technologies you need to know. So collecting the data, storing the data, and so we're going to be performing ETL or ELT operations going to be doing and storing the data, right? All the technologies you need to know. If you want to become a data engineer, SQL, data modeling you need to know. If you're working with the structured data, big data concepts you have to know, right? Lot of ETL tools you need to learn. Hadoop you need to learn, Python you need to learn, Databricks you need to learn, because big data Hadoop is going to be using Databricks, and lot of transformations you need to know. All of them you need to know so that you will be able to become a data engineer. Clear? So data engineer, when you learn Power BI, you can become a data analyst. You can also become a data scientist. So with the data only, two kind of applications are going to be working. So like with the data, I'm talking about with the data. One kind of an application is called as a data analytics or called as a business intelligence. One more kind of an application is called as AI/ML, which is going to be predicting the data, which is going to be analyzing the data. This data may be there in the Excel, or data may be there in the data lake or in the blob. Clear? If it is a cloud or it is on premises in Excel TXT files, or maybe SQL, or maybe data warehousing, or maybe your Hadoop or Spark. Clear? So all the data may be there in the cloud, or some of the data may be on premises on cloud also. So if you can work with all these things, you will become a big data engineer. If you learn Power BI, you will also become what? A data analyst. If you learn AI and ML, you will become a data scientist or AI engineer. Clear? So today we have generative AI. Generative AI. This is AI. AI always will predict. Okay. For the predictions purpose, we're going to be using either classification algorithm, regression algorithm, right? Lot of algorithms are going to be used. So generative AI is a subset of AI. It is not going to be, predicting. It is going to be generating something. You ask a question to Chat GPT will give you answer, which is going to be generating the content in the text or in the audio or in the video, but it is going to be generative AI means Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT is going to be getting large amount of data from the big, bigger Hadoop or the Spark and Scala systems. Now it is a cloud-based systems today. Large amount of data you have it. So all the data can be processed with the help of AI and ML. Generative AI is not going to predict something. Remember, normally AI applications are going to be predicting, but generative AI applications is going to be generating some data. It may be audio data, video data, image data. It can generate. It will give you a text or a video or audio. Chat GPT, Copilot for Microsoft, Google, Gemini. All these are called as now AI applications or more generative AI applications. Lot of opportunities are available with the Gen AI or AI, but go online trainings completely dealing with more and more data side. If you wanted to understand complete data, go online trainings will give you complete knowledge on the data. If you wanted to learn SQL, data modeling, or a data warehousing, Hadoop, Spark, Scala, Cloud, any data oriented technology, if you wanted to learn, definitely we are there. And Power BI also we can give you. But we have recently launched AI and ML also by one more trainer. His name is Ravi Teja. He worked for Chandrayaan project. So we are also launched AI, but data side means we're going to be giving very scratch to advanced level of training. Anybody, any non-IT people can become a data engineer. So you need to learn starting from SQL and data warehousing, blah blah blah. And advanced means if you know cloud with data lake and blob, and cloud with Hadoop and data bricks and Spark and Scala and Python. When you learn, you will become a big data engineer. All of them go online trainings is going to be giving you from very basic to advanced knowledge. Any non-IT people can easily get into IT industry as a data engineer, because data engineer you don't need to write much of coding. Only if you know SQL very well, you will become a data engineer. One ETL tool you need to know, and everything from the scratch we're going to be giving. Chalo guys. So this is what is called the brief introduction about uh, data warehousing, data lake, blob storage, cloud on-premises, and the complete roadmap to data engineering activities. If you want to become a data engineer, so you can you can have 10 years of gap in the non-IT industry. So minimum if you keep 2 to 3 years of experience as a data engineer or a data analyst, because these are very easy. You can become within 3 months. You can become a data engineer. Within 3 months, you can become a data analyst. But AI and ML will take minimum 1 year. I don't recommend it to take that. So any non-IT guy easily can get into this kind of a courses, and go online trainings is going to be giving you uh, from very basic level to advanced level of training. If anybody wanted to have one-to-one doubts clarification means, so you can call me on this number. So this is my direct office number. You can call me anytime so that I will be able to give you a career counseling session. If you have any friends, if they want to come into IT industry means, today they can become a data engineer. Okay. So data engineer means get the data, collect the data, and clean the data, store the data. For the storing purpose, we can use a lot of things, right? So we can use simple SQL. So SQL we're going to be teaching, or you may store data warehouse, or you may store data in the Hadoop, right? Big data concept also we're going to be teaching, or today Spark and Scala is going to become. So all of them you need to know, and Spark and Scala needs a Python language. This is the course that you need to know. So within 3 months, you will be able to become a data engineer. Clear? All of them you have to know. The time frame it is going to be taking minimum 3 months of time. Clear? So in this, so we're going to be also teaching some cloud technologies like Azure. So ADF we are going to be teaching. Azure Data Bricks we're going to be teaching. So along with all this concept, so Hadoop, Spark, Scala, everything is going to be coming inside this. Clear? So ETL. So when you learn all these things, you will become a data engineering. Anybody from non-IT easily can get into IT industry. Even though you have 10, 15 years of experience, you can easily get into this one by one. You will be able to learn all of them from scratch. The step number one, you need to go SQL in-depth of training, minimum 45 hours of training. You need to go and try to understand this. If you wanted to become a data analyst, so data analyst means all the SQL you need to know, ETL you need to know, and data warehousing concepts you need to know. So remaining things you need not know, you need to learn Power BI. Right? When you learn Power BI, so this course also can be done in the 3 months course. Any non-IT people also can come. So data scientist, I don't recommend because it is very complicated tool. If you wanted to learn, you can learn it, but it is very complicated tool. This is AI and ML. You have to learn. So it will be for 1 year course or 1.5 year course. It is 1.6 or 1.8 months it's going to be taking. So all of them you need to learn, plus you need to know stats and everything, and plus you need to know Python, plus you need to know AI and ML, and deep learning algorithms you need to learn. It will take very complex. So I don't recommend to go into this directly. You can become a data engineer, or you can become a data analyst. So work for company 3 to 4 years, then you can become this. Okay, it is very, very costly. You can within 3 months you can become this, or within 3 months you can become data analyst. Clear? If you have any questions, you can come back and ask. So we are going to be learning first SQL. Without SQL, you should not become a data engineer. If somebody is telling you learn SQL in 5 days, or I will teach you basic SQL, or if somebody telling you no, you can learn SQL from the Udemy, Google. So this is very basic SQL they have in Udemy classes or the other institutions. I don't recommend those kind of a SQL at all. We have a dedicated SQL classes are available in Telugu, English language. You can buy those videos and practice them on your own. And if you have a question, you can call me anytime. We will be able to connect one-to-one, and we will be able to give you that. Okay. So this is what is the complete brief I have given. So from tomorrow, I'm going to be starting your Azure Data Factory, and I'll show you how to create a new account in the portal.azure.com, and we can create one account, create one subscription. We will be able to work with this because ADF, no need of install any software because it's a cloud-based software. No need of installation of any software. Directly, we need to go to where? www.portal.azure.com. portal.azure.com. So we have to use one credit card, and we have to open one account here. So it is a free account for 1 month. So you will be able to open your credit card. Without credit card, you will not be able to open the account, or debit card. It is not going to take not even single rupee from your credit card. 1 month it will be free. Afterwards, it will ask you, you want to convert into pay mode. So pay as you use. If you want to convert, you can convert, or you can use one more debit card, one more credit card. You will get 1 more month free, so that we can go to portal.azure.com. We can work with the Azure Data Factory. It is going to be performing ETL operations. It is ETL means extracting the data, transforming the data, loading the data. We may load the data to the data lake, or you may load the data to the blob, or you may load the data to the Azure SQL or Azure database, blah blah blah. Clear? So all of them we will be able to perform. We will see how to perform ELT operations, how to perform ETL operations, how to apply transformations and all. We will be able to see it. Hadoop will take, not Hadoop, sorry, ADF will take minimum 25 classes. It is 25 hours daily over class, Monday to Friday. We'll have classes and only 1 hour. So 25 hours ADF. Azure Data Factory, Databricks if you wanted to learn. So Databricks is also one more ETL tool it is. Both of them are ETL tools only. This is no coding, drag and drop software. No coding, no programming. So what is required? SQL is required. It is ETL software, right? So we have one more ETL software, that is Azure Databricks. This is also one more software. Databricks is not from Azure. Databricks developed by Databricks company. So this is a ETL software, but more and more coding. Okay. So what kind of a coding we do? We may do Python or Spark, Scala coding we are going to be implementing. So this will be for 20 hours or 25 hours maximum. So when you know Databricks and ADF with SQL and with the Python, you will become a data engineer. So both of them are ETL tools only. But what is the difference between this? Is a coding based. So that is without coding based. And this is Microsoft own ETL tool. Databricks is not a Microsoft own tool. Databricks is the Databricks is developed by one more company called Databricks. The same Databricks is implemented in Azure. Databricks also can be implemented in AWS. Databricks is a separate concept. Clear? So that company is Microsoft is using. It is a code-based ETL tool. Python, Spark, we're going to be implementing. You can store the data in the Hadoop cluster. So where we're going to be storing the data? In the Hadoop. So big data concept also you need to understand here, because this is going to be storing data into the Hadoop. So it is going to be dealing with the big data and any kind of a data it can dealing with, right? So, but it is a coding. At least the basic coding you need to know. We are going to be using a Python and Spark put together, PySpark. So we are going to be using Python and Spark language, PySpark. Anyhow, SQL will be there. Without SQL, you will not be dealing with this one. So PySpark is the language that I'm going to be using it here. Chalo. So we deal with the ADF for 25 days. Then after that, if you're interested, we'll start with the Databricks as well. And the Databricks will understand big data concepts, Spark, Scala, and everything. Chalo, guys. Any questions you have?